Hello there, my beloved sacred one, awakened one. This is Monica Bermudez, an intuitive quantum energy healer. And I want to specifically talk about this lunar eclipse full moon in the sign of Scorpio. 5 very potent information themes to share with you and to prepare for it as well, because it's a big portal and it's several portals in one very specific day of potent energy. So on May 5th, which is a big day, is when the energy is at its highest peak for this full moon energy. And at the same time, during that full moon energy, we're also going to be in a lunar eclipse, which is the second one for, well, it's actually like we just had the solar eclipse. So this is now the next one that's fast approaching. So we just had, we're going to have these major big eclipse for 2023, which are going to last until 2024. Very strong, powerful, transformational energies. And so the full moon, which is in the sign of Scorpio, and Scorpio is this water sign type zodiac sign. And when it's associated to the water sign, there is this association with intuition, with clairvoyance. So full moon energy does also heighten a lot of the psychic abilities and the clairvoyance energy. So there's definitely a lot of this activation that is occurring as well for that May 5th date. And it all just, I guess, depends on your time zone, right, of when that effects are. But whatever time zone it is, though, the energies are still very potent wherever you are in the world. On that same day is also a very important holiday for most of Asia, which is celebrated as known as the Wesak full moon. Wesak is the birth of Buddha. And for those who don't know the story of Buddha, Buddha wasn't always Buddha. He wasn't like born a Buddha. It's actually, it was a person who lived his human life, who was actually physically born into the royal family, who was actually a prince. And when, I don't remember his exact name, but he had a human name. And so he decided that he would leave all his wealth and riches and go explore the world and understand why there was so much pain and suffering. And so he decided, well, to leave in pursuit of what he wanted to understand, what was going on with the human world and the human suffering. So he went on of his own choice to experience this. And as he did so, he, on one day in particular, which is associated to May 5th, to the full moon, which happened to be on a full moon, that he achieved a enlightened state. And so that is why he was reborn on that date. So it was this rebirth of his divine self, his soul aspect of him in the physical form. So this next level of ascension for Buddha. And so now Buddha is so significant, and I'm not associating it to any religion in particular. Okay, this is just very neutral information coming more from an intuitive type spiritual side of things, and talking about it, how, this is also applicable to us as well, because we are all fully capable of receiving the same type of enlightenment in this ascension process that we're all in at this time. And so you have this ability yourself to achieve that, because being in this human body, in this physical form, we've all gone through our own pains and suffering, and we've all learned so many things from, the many experiences that we've had. And this isn't the only lifetime that we've had, with those experiences. There's been so many others. It's just that some, we've forgotten most of it. But, there is a way to remember, and that's how, when you start to feel that this connection to certain areas and places and people, there is this knowingness. It feels like you've been there, or it feels familiar, or you just feel like very drawn to very specific places around the earth. It's because you have experienced those lives there as well. It's almost like sometimes having this nostalgic feeling, right, of this place like you've been there before, like it almost feels like home. And so a lot of those feelings are not coincidence, but more of this reconnectedness into some remembrance of yourself and tapping more into your own Akashic records. And the Akashic records are that is what keeps a lot of our records of ourselves from the spiritual self and all our spiritual experiences that we've had in our evolutionary stages of ourself. So that's what this full moon is. It has this great potential, right? This huge portal of energy for this new way of being that we're tapping or stepping more into this new earth frequency of energy. And so it's starting to think more in that own mindset and that heart set, even though it just feels like people are still not all there and energies do feel a lot more chaotic. And especially during the full moon, I feel like people just get more, we have a tendency to be more lunatic. And so that, can, because of the heightened energy, it is so important as to keep yourself in a certain balanced state and to really do the work within yourself before, for these full moon energies, and take advantage of its energy also in a good way that could be used for its own good use. But I have been noticing though, since the April full moon, especially now as we're getting near this other full moon, that the tensions do rise a lot with people, and there's been a lot more confrontational type energy. And so the best thing to do is not to engage yourself or put yourself in the middle of those confrontational type energies because they are just so draining. So if you don't have to, you don't need to, just don't engage yourself, because it seems to be in a much worse state than I remember it to be. And so a lot of the full moon energy does also bring up a lot of what I've been noticing a lot of trendy of is this aggressiveness that has been around with a lot of spammers and hackers, and as well as I'll just call it the troll commenters. And what I mean by troll commenters are that, some people have not been very nice with their comments. There is a form of like providing constructive feedback, which is, very helpful and useful for others to know. But when providing a feedback, it doesn't have to be rude or mean or in a form of attacking others. And so what I've been noticing lately is a lot more people it's this form of like confrontational energy of wanting to attack someone else and wanting to hurt them in that way, in that process. And, it's important to remember that we are all reflection of one another. So even if there's things that get triggered, by someone else, or, that you don't like about someone else, and you just don't have like anything nice to say, there is this form of reflection that is also within ourselves. So it's important to know that as you provide this feedback to others, that how would you want to receive the feedback in a constructive way without having to be insulting to someone else in that way. And so, these are some of the things that I've been noticing personally that I've been seeing rising, especially now that this energy for this full moon is building up. And I could feel a lot more and see that there's what looks like this chaotic energy. But within this chaotic energy, there's also this form of order that is also taking form in itself for us to prepare ourselves into this new earth frequency energy. So I'm just going to jump into the 5 things to know about this full moon solar eclipse. No, not solar eclipse, lunar eclipse energy, which is in the sign of Scorpio. And the number one thing is that this is a very transformational spiritual revolution. And when I say spiritual revolution, it's more of this inner calling within our own heart and soul to step more fully into our own spiritual aspects of ourselves. So it is a very powerful revolutionary thing to, as you step more inside yourself, that you'll start to notice that there's this other layers of calling which may require or may ask you to make changes in your life that will seem very uncomfortable, because if you've lived your life in a certain way in the human form, in this physical human form, and when being asked to make these major big changes like moving, for instance, for example, and changing a job is another example that, you know, you're so like used to, because in a human way, you know, we get so attached to certain things in our life. And so it could be scary, it could be confusing, and also very, you know, in a way there's this grief, right? Because you're kind of like grieving your old version, which is the death of the self. And, you know, what's being transformed now and alchemized is this new version of yourself, which is stepping more into your own authentic self. So there is this spiritual revolution within that is growing, that is calling. And it's asking also your spiritual warrior within yourself to take action into that spiritual revolution. And when I say spiritual warrior, I'm not talking about going out in actual battle with people and getting confrontational. No, this is more like an inward type calling for yourself, a change for yourself, a change for the better. And that is just like being like looking at all the patterns, even if they're uncomfortable, like the old patterns that no longer work for you, being honest with yourself of the changes that are to come and preparing yourself in that way for it. And so that's what, you know, this feels like to me for this big full moon energy and eclipse. And the number 2 thing to know is that there is this twin flame awakening that is within ourselves. So it's a divine feminine, divine masculine sacred union that is occurring for this full moon lunar eclipse in Wesek, you know, type energy as well, because they're all like 3 portals for me. I look at it as 3 portals occurring at the same time. So it's like this formation of this triangle, and the number 3 is significant, right? Because to number 3 for me is about manifestation, it's about creation. So there is this recreation of ourselves, and there is this twin flame awakening that is occurring. And I don't always talk about the twin flame energy, even though I am a huge fan of all the twin flame and all that, but I just never really felt that calling to really just do it as much. But now I am feeling called to talk more about it. So you'll probably be hearing more about me talking about it, but I'll be talking more about it from an energy standpoint of within ourselves and balancing those 2 energies inside ourselves first. More so, that's where my focus is. And it's just the same as saying that it is divine feminine, divine masculine energies, because that's really what it is. This energy exists in all of us. It doesn't matter what physical body you have at this time. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Everybody has this energy inside inside yourself. So recently, you know, with a lot of these astrological and planetary changes for the earth, there has been this huge rise of the divine feminine energy, which I consider to be one of the most powerful energies, because it urges this rebalancing and this intuitive side of ourselves that is more into this surrendering type energy that is very powerful. And it also just helps to bring forth, and I feel like from this divine feminine energy, what is being rebirthed is also this divine masculine energy that is strengthening and holding the space for the divine feminine to be able to have the space for this creative flow of energy and surrender and feeling safe with that creation into, as we tap more fully into our own soul aspects of ourselves. And so there is this level of sacred union that is occurring. I'm not saying that it's going to happen overnight, but it is this form of initiating those or planting that seed within ourselves as things progress, and they will accelerate in quantum leap. And so we will feel more into this balance of ourselves, And so this is what, we're being called to be more in balance within ourselves, of those two energies. Because as we do that, as we become more balanced within ourselves, we're also tapping into these higher frequencies of energy, into the cosmic, into the higher consciousness, Christ consciousness, and we are more expansive that way, and more into this ascended version of ourselves, more in line with Mother Earth, New Earth's frequency energy that is also shifting on the planet, and we are coming along with that same energy as, we're going to live here in this physical form, but live in a new, like, physical way of our new human selves, and activating more of our own spiritual gifts and spiritual abilities, tapping more fully into our own abundance and prosperity, and having that stability in those areas, because we have always been abundant and prosperous in our own way. So when I think of twin flame energy, I see it being very abundant and very prosperous type energy. So number 3 thing is that this is an initiatory type portal. So we are initiating ourselves to step into this next level of our ascension. That's really what the initiation is stepping into the next level, into a higher level. It's like graduating from this other version of ourselves that we have studied so much and learned so much. So whatever it is that you have learned is the right level for you at this time. And everybody's going to be different, because everybody's going to be learning in their own way and experiencing in their own way and having their own unique experience. And so to me, it's like taking that test, that final test on the full moon, this lunar eclipse, and saying, okay, you passed, you've completed this cycle. It's time to move on to the next aspect of your life, into this transformational stage, this new version of yourself. And the 4th thing is that there is this heightened energy of intuition and psychic activation, of clairvoyance of your 3rd eye center, but also of your heart, because they are interconnected and they have this very powerful connection themselves as well. They serve and they work with one another, especially when you work at clearing a lot of these patterns that stem around your heart. You will find this connection get stronger with your own intuition. And I feel like for this full moon, it will be a very heightened type energy that will allow more of this activation to occur as well. So you may receive, prophetic dreams too, like around, close to that full moon energy. And please share, your thoughts if you do have any type of, clairvoyance or type of experience or heightened type energies that you wish to share, as far as as we get to this full moon energy and what you've been experiencing. Feel free to share your comments below. And the 5th thing to know is that because of these heightened energies that, we're going to experience, it's very important to stay grounded. Now I use these special shoes that I always, these slippers that are made of these special crystal material that is made of the earth material. And so it has, elements of it to help me stay grounded at all times. So if you have any type of techniques like that, just keep yourself in a grounded state on earth, or just going outside and placing your feet on earth and just, connecting with Mother Earth to stay in that grounded state. And or just, do your meditation to ground with it. So I just did a very powerful meditation with the New Earth frequency energy to help with the grounding. So check out that meditation if you haven't already. And well, this is, what I wanted to share for this full moon energy. So it's so important that we prepare ourselves in our own way for what is to come, because these are some very big, potent energies that we're going to be experiencing. So do your best with them, and I will be connecting with you. If you like this video, this message, click like and share with others. And subscribe so that you can hear more messages like this, and as well as receive other guided meditations as well and other themed messages. So I want to be sharing some more different types of messages with you as well. So I'll be connecting with you very soon. Bye for now. Sending you all so much love.